Instagram's big on the flashy and the showing that fancy lifestyle. And so I was showing that. I was showing, these vacations where we're going to penthouses, where we're going to the 50th floor of hotels and just going on these elaborate vacations. But it almost started turning into people were expecting more of the flash and none of the actual content that I was providing with the flash. They wanted to see the cool stuff, but they didn't want to learn what it took to actually achieve it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode with Leadership with Glastinne. And this time, I'm going to take your leadership to the next level. Our special guest tonight is no other than my good friend, Inman. You are going to love this guy. Everyone is in for a treat. I tell you, this guy is amazing. This interview, how to reset your life, I don't care what you're going through. I don't care if you lost your job. I don't care if for some reason you can't go to school anymore or the loan didn't go through. You're behind on your mortgage or whatever you're going through. You can glean something from Inman's story. How to reset, how to press that reset button, how to just get yourself mentally prepared. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk to Inman about that. How do you get your that mindset to be mentally prepared for a crisis or some impending catastrophe? How do you prepare for that? But on this tonight, we're going to be talking about those things. I see one of Inman's brothers out there saying, my boy Inman, whoop, whoop. I second that, whoop, whoop. I second that. Missy, I see you. Hey, Missy, what's going on? Missy from California, what's going on? I see you. All right. I kept you guys in suspense long enough. Let me get Inman out here, man. I mean, show him some love. This is the guy that keeps all of us safe. One of the guys out of many, but this is the guy that is here tonight, showing us some love, so show him some love. Jermaine's already throwing up the hearts. That's my man. That's my man there, man. Jermaine. Hey.
What's up, brother?
It's Inman.
What's going on, man?
It's Inman. Oh man, Inman. Yo, man. Thank you for being here, man. I mean, I'm excited just to have you on this show, man.
Hey, man. Excited to be here. Appreciate you having me.
And hey, don't need to be nervous. We're just having a conversation. Everyone loves you.
Bring me on my first live show. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna rep some unit pride here, and you come in a suit. Come on, man.
Hey, I had to, man. I have to do it. I got a image to keep up.
I got one too. I'm gonna rep 10 Special Forces here. Here we go.
Yeah. Hey, man. I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. You are dressed exactly how I envisioned you to be dressed.
Hey,
that sounds crazy, doesn't it? Oh, he got the hat. Hey, we're gonna talk about the hat later. We're gonna talk about the hat later. Hey, so everybody, let me just say this about Inman. I mean, Inman has such a great spirit about him, a spirit of just reaching out and building relationships. I mean, just a true leadership spirit. And you really meet few people with that type of energy. But in my case, when I do meet people like that, I hold on to them. And just to give you a tidbit about something, I was doing my research on Inman, and he sent me his press package, and I was just reading it, and I was reading his vision. And I'm gonna let him share that with you. I was reading his vision, and well, first I printed out his vision, and then I went upstairs to grab something, and I came back down, and I picked up his copy of his vision that I just printed out, and I started reading it. And when I started reading it, and I was like, is this my vision? Because it made me teary-eyed, because I was like, wow, look at this connection, and I read the whole vision, and I was like, wow, you know what? I could actually compare notes with Inman, and we'll basically have 90% of our vision that's so similar. I mean, it was just amazing to me. And there's a lot of things that I could say about this man, but I want you to hear it from him. I want you to hear his story. I went over his story with him, and I thought it was just so compelling. And I just want you to just listen up. So whatever you're going through in your life, take some nuggets from his story, because we all go through things, but it just takes that person. Sometimes it just takes that person to hear something that they can use, something that they can hold on to, especially when we're going through this COVID stuff. One day we're in COVID, one day we're out, next thing you know, we're back in, and there's COVID has left a wake in its passing, and it's just, some of us just need some help. And so I'm hoping that this interview will encourage, will inspire, and get you guys motivated. Inman, my brother, for the people that don't know you, I know they know of you, but they don't know you. Give us some background about yourself, brother.
Yeah, so been an entrepreneur now for about 10 years. Been a soldier going on 7. Started off in aviation, then went to special operations, which is where I'm at now. Next chapter will be starting next month, where I will be a U.S. Army recruiter, where I get to go and share my message with all the kids that aspire to join the military. That'll be a completely different venture. I've been an investor now for about 3 years, and yeah. And then as far as like my lifestyle goes, I'm an outdoorsman, I'm a country boy, and follower of Christ. So huge into my faith.
Yo, man, love it, love it, love it, love it. But now I want everyone to hear the backstory. How in the world did this Inman? Because I want everyone to just look at Inman for a second, because he wasn't always the Inman that we see today.
Nope.
So Inman, take us back, man. Take us back to high school, those high school days, those disappointing days, and bring us up to date on you, man.
All right. So starting off, like, I moved around a lot when I was a kid. So I started off in Northern California. Moved to Texas when I was 5, where I spent most of my life. So I claimed Texas, spent the most time there. From there, went to Florida, from Florida to Minnesota back to California, back to Minnesota, then to South Carolina, Arizona, like all over the place.
Wow.
So moving was really big. And with all of those moves, you pretty much are forced into adapting to the environment or get crushed. So from early on, I've always had that kind of growing up is like, all right, it's time to move. I know I'm not going to be here forever, and get ready to move on, right? And hold on, if you see me touching the screen, my screen's timing out here. So yeah, so that's, kind of the upbringing. as far as high school goes, so I was super into baseball. Had an injury, so I had to have Tommy John surgery or stop playing baseball, so I just stopped playing. When I was 16, my dad introduced me to entrepreneurship. So he's kind of the one that got me started on this whole kick, right? 16th birthday, he walks in and he goes, "Hey, I've got $3,000, or I've got your Benelli Supernova shotgun." So naturally, as a 16-year-old, I was like, "Cool, I'll just take the money and then buy my shotgun with it. And now I've got extra." That wasn't the case. So the whole deal was, if you take the money, I want my return on investment in 6 months. So I remember I was like, how am I supposed to do that? And he started laughing. He goes, "What? So I need to give you the money and tell you how to multiply it too?" So I mean, the only place I really knew where to go, which was YouTube. Went and got books on it, learned entrepreneurship, and then that kind of started the whole journey. Started a knife sharpening company, and that was the first business I ever had. From there, went around to like the butcher shops and restaurants and started sharpening knives. Got him his return on investment, and I was hooked. That was going good for a while, and then so as far as the downturn, so everything sounds great, and then all of a sudden, like, the downturn though was my mom was an alcoholic through this, so she started drinking, and it slowly got worse and worse. Slowly started to kind of destroy the childhood. In the teenage years, I remember, I was starting to get really rebellious and was like, what, I'm not going to be hanging around. I'm just going to hold this. And was like, I'm not going to hang around here, and I'm going to go kind of do my own thing. So that's what I did.
Was that the time that you dropped out of high school? Was that around that time?
Yeah. So that's what, right. Yeah. So right then when I made that decision, like, hey, I've had enough of this, that was kind of the turning point. And so I dropped out of high school at 17, and ran away. So at the time, my family was living out in Northern California. I decided to up and move back to Minnesota, which is where I just left. So after I left California, got to Minnesota and started there. Was living with my girlfriend and her family. That ended up not working out, and so I started couch hopping.
Hold on for a second.
Here we go.
You ran away to live with your girlfriend?
I did.
And the parents were okay. Her parents were okay with it?
Well, her parents were divorced. It was her dad, and her dad was okay with it. He was actually an entrepreneur as well. He owned an auto shop. And so I went and learned from him in his shop, saw how he did this, kind of learned, what he did, was really embedded with her and her family. Her family was awesome. Really took care of me and helped me not fall straight on my face. That was the point, though. I was dropped out of high school, and at that point I was paying for everything. So I was like, what, I have to kind of figure this out. So I went to a Ford dealership, and I was 17, went to a Ford dealership and said, "Hey, I want to get a job in sales." So they're like, "Sure, how old are you?" I was like, 18, let's go. Anyway, I started working there and worked my way up with them. And then that was, kind of a bonus. That was kind of like the upside to this story. Then it all came crashing down. So as you're going to see, the trends here is when you don't establish a good life for yourself, and when you aren't making the right decisions, it doesn't matter what opportunities are put in front of you. You cannot harness those opportunities unless you're prepared to accept them, acknowledge them, and embrace them. And, in the place that I was at, I was not ready for that. Long story short on that side, her and I ended up breaking up. And then I started couch surfing. So, just hopping from couch to couch to couch, started getting into some pretty bad things. And we'll leave it there because I'm still in the military. So,
yeah, we'll leave it right there. We're going to leave right there.
I'll tell you what, in 3 years, we'll have when I'm out, we'll have the conversation on what happened during that.
Yeah, part two.
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of that time frame. And then after that whole span, that was a span of 3 years. After that span of 3 years,
I spent 3 years couch surfing, as you put it.
Yeah. So
wow.
It was actually, so one of my really good friends, Brandon, and I still talk to him today. Awesome dude. His family took care of me too, and allowed me to live there. And it was almost, it was almost like I was living there out of guilt. They felt bad, so they're like, "All right, man, we'll let you live here." And we had some rent agreements and stuff, so I'd pay a little bit of rent. But I mean, looking back on it, it's nothing that you and I would pay for a normal rent. So they definitely took care of me. And then after that, ended up going and getting an apartment, getting an apartment with some roommates. And it was there that I got the phone call from my dad where he was like, are you done, wasting your life? Was basically how I put it. I'll spare the details on the verbiage. And so I was like, and he had asked me this a year sooner. I was like, no, hell no, I'm not ready. I don't need you guys. I'm not coming back home. And they were like, my dad was great, so I had nothing against him. It was more of the principle behind it. So long story short, ended up accepting his offer. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to come home. So I came home. He gave me just enough money for gas and for one hotel. There ended up being a blizzard on the drive home, so that was the reason why I stopped and got the hotel. Otherwise, he was expecting me to drive straight through. Got home. A humbling experience. You want to talk about humbling experiences of resetting your life? Getting your high school diploma at 20 years old. Man, I'm telling you right now, that's not something that you hear about too often. Most people are like, hey, I got my GED. I just went ahead and did that and took that route. I was like, nope, I need the high school diploma. So we did what we had to do, went back to the local high school. We ended up working out a deal, got my high school diploma, and then I trained for the next 12 months to join the military. So at that point, from him making that phone call, that was the turning point for me, where it was somebody reached their hand out to me, and I had the opportunity. I could have been hard-headed and could be like, no, I'm not coming home. I'm not going to reset my life. But I didn't. I decided that enough was enough, and I knew there was more to living than what I was currently living.
Let me ask this, because I got to ask this question. Were you at any point hoping that your dad would call or somebody would call and get you out of this type of lifestyle? Or were you just like gun-ho, like, I'm going to make this happen on my own? I don't care. What was it?
Yeah, so at the time, no. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to call. I wasn't trying to get handouts. I was very much, I was very sclerotic, so very stuck in my ways, right? I was not willing to accept help. I wanted to do everything. It's all me. I built this life for myself, and, I'm going to live it, and I'm going to prove to them that I can do this. Back then, I think it's a attractive thought when you're younger or when you're going through something to try and take it on alone. There's a huge lesson to be learned there, and that it's okay to take a handout. It's okay when someone reaches their hand out to you to be able to accept that as an offer and say, thank you. I will repay you in the future. I will find a way. So like me and my dad joke now, and we say I'm going to get him his tournament bass boat. So like that's kind of our joke is, I'm going to get him his Ranger bass boat and repay him for turning my life around. But no, at the time, absolutely not. I wanted nothing to do with receiving help. But when it was offered, it was one of those moments where you just knew, like, maybe I should reflect on my life. Why are they asking me for help? Is there areas that I need improvement?
Man, that's awesome, man, because we all fall into that trap, that ego trap, and that I can do this alone. But the thing is, you did have that entrepreneurial spirit. Even though it was kind of like working against you, but I believe you would have made it. But it sure helps when family just reach out and embrace you, man. I mean, I feel you, because I've gone through something similar.
Oh yeah.
But I want to talk about this. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about your intention of being this elite athlete. Where did that come from, brother?
Man, so the getting your high school diploma at 20 was a big, we'll say, reality check for me. I started going through that, and I was like, there is a place to turn around. I'm super big into, if you know who TD Jakes is.
Yes.
And so Jakes was talking about destiny. And I remember I was watching him on TV, and it was when he, I don't remember if it was right when he released his book or if it was when he was talking on YouTube, but I remember hearing his sermon on destiny. And I was sitting in the chair listening to it while I'm trying to get my high school diploma. And I'm just sitting there like, there is more, there is more to my life right now than what I'm living. There is more offered here than what I've allowed myself to believe so far. And that was the big shift, was, hearing that sermon just like completely changed my life. And after that, I was like, there is zero reason why anybody should be better than me. The only reason that someone's making more money than me is because they have more experience. They put themselves out there to receive the opportunities. The only reason someone's stronger than me is because they put more time in the gym. The only reason, and I just kept following that track of like, I can literally do anything that any of these people have done if you just commit and focus, and then obviously take the massive action it takes to follow through on that commitment.
Wow. Didn't I tell you guys that this man was fire? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Oh man. I wanna read something to you guys about Inman. On his website, he has "What do I do?" Right? There's a section that's called "What do I do?" He said, "The Inman man works with committed outdoorsmen and women to provide advanced coaching, empowering them to turn their idea or company into a thriving brand in an honorable and strategic way. Through this personalized instructions, we are given a sense of purpose, direction, and motivation to become awakened from within." Now, the vision is to understand, empower, and transform every business I work with. Now, here's the one that I love. It's called, "What is TMDC?" He's already embarrassed already.
Oh man, here we go.
TMDC stands for the Million Dollar Cowboy. I love that name. I love that name, the $1 Million Cowboy. And that nickname was created because that is what I want to be known for. Creating generational wealth for every person, brand I work with. I strive for every client to earn at least $1 million. Yo, man, tell us about how you came up with this the $1 Million Cowboy idea, and how we can get $1 million, how we can get to earn $1 million too.
Yeah, so I mean, we're all working on that. So I see a comment down there that says, "Come on, speak the truth." So you know, the behind the scenes is like, this is not one of those like the YouTube series, right? This is not one of those things where it's like I'm out here and, you know, I've scripted my story and all of that. It's just, this is what life has thrown in front of me. And ever since I've started learning how to enhance and embrace opportunities that are in front of me. So I got back from Afghanistan last year. And when I got back from Afghanistan, my wife and I were driving down to, if you see me look it up, I got my team behind me here.
Oh, wow. Nice.
But, yeah, so we're driving to Nolens. So we're heading down there, and she looks at me and she goes, I've got the nickname. And like, we were trying to figure out what my consulting name was going to be and all of that. And she goes, the $1 Million Cowboy. At the time, you know, we're big into affirmations. We're talking about, you know,
I should have known. Only a woman could come up with a great name like that. I should have known.
Yeah, you think I'm that creative? Man, that's
yeah, I should have known.
Marketing. She's the creative one in this this relationship.
Nice.
So yeah, so she came up with that, and honestly, I stopped it for a while. So the page is on private on Instagram. I kind of stopped it for a while because I didn't like the direction it was going in. You know, Instagram's big on the flashy and the showing that fancy lifestyle, and so I was showing that. I was showing, you know, these vacations where we're going to penthouses, where we're going to the 50th floor of hotels, and just going on these elaborate vacations. But it almost started turning into, people were expecting more of the flash and none of the actual content that I was providing with the flash. You know, they wanted to see the cool stuff, but they didn't want to learn what it took to actually achieve it.
Right.
So I opted at that point, was like, you know, that's a lesson in itself, is it's okay to stop a brand. It's okay to stop what you're doing and reevaluate if it's still the direction that you want to go in. And that's what happened. It recently made a comeback, actually, this past month. Was when we decided, like, all right, we're going to restructure, or 2 months ago, when we were going to restructure how we're going to play this. And so the whole move was, how can we make this from the start be about everyone else that we're working with? How can we make a community of, you know, it's not me that's the $1 Million Cowboy, but it's the idea of what it represents. You know, I'm huge in the outdoors industry. Rewebbed Inc., the digital agency that I co-own and manage, you know, we're digital agency for the outdoors industry. The clothing brand, all of the things that I'm doing is built around the outdoors, and that was the whole concept behind it. I used to ride horses, used to be huge into you know, riding the horses every day and big into that rodeo lifestyle. And so I was like, how do you fuse these together? And then that's when she came up with that killer name, and that was it. And now we repurposed it to making it a message about others and not just us.
Man, that's awesome. Talk about that clothing line that you have. Man,
So
man, this is so good. Everything that you said is just so inspiring, man. It shows us what we're capable of. I mean, here's a guy, that was messing around in the streets and ran away from home, you know, got his high school diploma at 20. You kind of make me feel good. I got mine at 17. But
okay.
But tell us about that brand, man.
Yeah, so it's called Country Nav. And so it was one of the first businesses I really started getting serious about, and this was back in 2015 or 16. I think it was 16. Really started getting serious with it, and it was when I was in the military. I came back from from Africa. So that was from my Africa deployment. Came back and was like, all right, it's time I get back into entrepreneurship. So at the time, I'd won all those competitions, been doing great things for the Army, and it was time I was starting to think about, like, am I going to get out of the military? Started this company with my re-enlistment bonus. So, some people are like, hey, I need to go get a business loan. Others are like, hey, just do a pre-sale, do all that. And I was very strategic with, I need this amount of money. And as far as my re-enlistment came, I told the Army, I was like, hey, I'll re-enlist if you give me X amount.
Right.
They ended up doing it. So when they did it, I started this clothing brand because it was one of the easiest things to get into. As far as like the profit margins, they're not as nice as some other industries, but it's a really good place to learn how to embrace the digital space. So as I was doing this military and as I was doing all these other things from the beginning ages of my entrepreneurship, going from where I started and starting back up in 2016 was a huge bell curve, because it was the digital marketing and just all of the tactics that I had originally learned were going obsolete. And so you had to adapt to the space, and it was a great opportunity. So that started up, made my money with that, and everything was going good with it. And then all of a sudden, after that, I started really hammering into the self-development. I started really hammering into, that's when I discovered Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, all of those guys. Andy Frisilla, man, you want to talk about someone to light a fire under your butt? Go listen to Andy's podcast.
That man is fire.
Oh, he is. And so I started listening to them, and I was like, all right, what's the next level? How do I go from making $10 profit margins to, more? How do I do that but still be effective at helping someone? So I learned web design. So I ended up taking 7 days leave from the military after the Country Nav journey. I ended up stopping that there. Was happy with where I was, because that gave me the funds to then start Rewebbed, which is where I'm at now with the digital agency. And when I say I took leave, man, I took 7 days of leave. And for those 7 days, all it was pots of coffee after pots of coffee. And I am not exaggerating. The only time I got up was to refill my cup with coffee or to go use the bathroom. And for those 7 days, it was 18 to 20-hour days, migraines, like you're just staring at a computer screen, learning how to code. And here's the kicker. I only spent like $20 on all of the courses off of Udemy. It was like $4 or $5 courses. Got it for $20 and was like, I'm an expert coder now.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. That is some, I thought I was bad. That is some dedication, because today people aren't willing to do the work. Mm-hmm. They want to achieve this amount of success,
yep.
but for some reason the work doesn't factor in that equation that they have in their minds for some reason, and that's why it's important that we talk about things like this. We keep talking about it. Like my interviews are with real leaders, and I say real because this is not scripted. This is raw. This is in living color. We're just talking about our experiences. That way, someone could find some nugget that they can take with them and make their dreams come true. This is not about us. This is about communities.
Yep.
So Enid and I, we're trying to merge our communities. We're trying to collaborate and help more people, because that's how you help more people, when you come together and help, right? So, so Enan, you spoke about personal development. Come on, give us some insights of what you learned from those Andy Frisillas and Ed Milet's, and if there was any books that you know were reading. You know, give us how that personal development lifestyle is for you.
Yeah, so I mean, I've got a whole bookshelf now. So as far as narrowing them down, I'll give you a little bit of a list here of like good ones to start with, and kind of like where I started and then grew into. As far as the personal development piece, so one of the things that like we constantly go back to, right, is let's see if we can make this work again. So one of the things that you're constantly going back to is the concept that everybody's saying, you know, you can't use anger, you can't use this emotion, you can't do this. And honestly, like as far as what I've learned for personal development, it is okay that if you are trying to be successful because you're trying to prove a point, because you have a chip on your shoulder, because something is going on in your life where you're like, there is more to it, embrace that energy at that time to at least get you going. You know, Jocko Willink is huge on discipline equals freedom. You know, you get that discipline by being repetitive, by, you know, saying, I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock every morning, setting your schedule and just hammering in on that schedule. And then all of a sudden it goes from motivation to discipline. Now it becomes a part of your routine. One of the biggest things that you're going to see as far as like diving into this is you can fix your mind. You can develop yourself as you go. So you don't have to take 15 courses. You don't have to take or go down to the library and read 100 books on self-development. Just start applying each book that you know and that you're learning. Take one book at a time, one course at a time, and just slowly progress and get better. Because I promise you, it's better to just get started and start taking action and improving yourself along the way than it is to just sit there and have paralysis by analysis and just constantly study and never take that first step.
Wow.
The so you have Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know, that's one that every entrepreneur,
My favorite.
yeah, every entrepreneur I feel like they start with Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's a huge one. Looking at my bookshelf, I've got, you know, Tools of Titan was a cool one, just mainly because it really breaks down, you know, the lifestyle of these entrepreneurs. It kind of tells you their backstory. As far as funnels go, you know, your .com secrets, you have your copywriting secrets. Ed Milet, he has a book called Max Out. So one of the cool things is Ed doesn't know me yet, but I promise you, I'm going to get to a point that Ed's going to be one of my mentors. And one of these videos is going to spark it where he's going to see it and be like, all right, man, I've heard you 15 times say this, like, let's talk. But he's got a book called Max Out. It's a short read, great book. And yeah, I mean, as far as Andy Frisilla and those podcasts, you know, it's finding what works in your morning routine. And so Gary Vaynerchuk calls it the flavor of the month. And so it's okay to have, you know, a different mentor each month to learn from. So like one of the things that I did was I started off with Grant Cardone. You know, he was kind of the first one that really stuck to me when I was watching him on YouTube. Then it went to Gary Vaynerchuk. Then it went to Ed Milet. Then it went to Andy Frisilla, who I heard about through Ed Milet. And then that led to now the real Brad Lee, who was talking about like closing and just like, it's okay to have this podcast and then factor them into your mornings. As long as you're continuing to take those steps, I don't really see a harm in it.
What does your morning routine look like?
So it varies. I've tried sticking to a set schedule. The last podcast I was on, I was like, you know, I try to stick to my 3 to 4 a.m. and like you just get up and go. But honestly, like life happens. So as long as, so my thing right now is being active duty military. And I mean, you know, the businesses that I'm doing behind the scenes and all the things I'm doing. I actually just started a vlog too. So now I've got a daily vlog that I'm going to try and tackle. But it honestly varies. You know, some days I'll be up at 4, some days I'll be up at 5. You know, some days if I'm like, hey, you know what, I stayed up till midnight the night before getting everything knocked out, I'll sleep until 6. But the morning routine will always consist of personal development, professional development, and the gym. At absolute minimum, it will consist of those things. And the first half hour of the day, regardless of when I wake up, starts with the vision board, reading your vision, your purpose, your goals for the year, your long-term like life goals. And then looking at your vision board of what actually inspires you. And, you know, that as long as all of those are being done, then I'll go and grab the electronics and I'll, you know, kind of start the day from there.
That's awesome. You said something that just fascinated me just now. You said sleep in 6 a.m. Some of us are just, you know, getting our second RPM type of sleep, REM sleep. I said RPM, but I meant REM sleep. So even if you go to sleep, I want to get this straight. Even if you go to sleep at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you will still wake up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, so my wife and I were actually talking about that today, where the importance of a schedule, that when you go to bed and when the work is done for the day is day dependent. So that's the only thing that I've learned, at least where I'm at. One of the things Ed Milet talks about is, and this is going to like some people are going to look at me crazy on this one, but one of the things Ed Milet talks about is breaking your day into 4 days, because humans created time. We were the ones that were like, hey, there's 24 hours in a day. You need your 8 hours of sleep. For me, I don't need 8 hours of sleep. And so what you can do is you can break your day into 4 days. So from 6 a.m. to noon, what can you get done? Can you get an entire 24 hours a day work done and from that 6 to noon? Then your second day starts, noon to 6, then 6 to midnight, and then you sleep from midnight back to 6. So the fourth part of your day is sleeping. So that leaves you three full days. If you can learn how to optimize your schedule every hour and be able to enhance the hours that you do have, that means you can fit 3 days into one day.
Yeah, Ed Milet is a beast.
Oh man, he has changed my life as far as some of those concepts are concerned.
If you are not following Ed Milet, follow Ed Milet. That is a true beast. I mean, his story is phenomenal also. And so I wanted to just highlight some things that Ian is not highlighting because he's modest that way. But I want you to just get a sense of who you're talking to, who you're listening to. Now, and this is part of his press kit, so it's public. Won 7 U.S. Army Best Warrior competitions. Won 2 U.S. Army Special Forces Commando competitions. Awarded 2 Air Force Area Achievement Medals while in the Army. Deployed to Africa and Afghanistan to fight the global war on terror. Supported missions in North and South America, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Featured in USA Today, the Army Times, and the El Paso Times. Army School badges, Airborne, Air Assault, non-rated crew member, Aviation, SERE, Survive, Evade, Resist, Escape, and SEMA, Special Electronic Mission Aircraft. Yo, man, tell us about these things, man. I mean, I feel like I'm talking to Rambo right now. But go ahead, Eden. Tell us about these competitions and these adventures that you've been through, man. I mean, this is not. I mean, you may see it as light stuff, but on the civilian side, I mean, we look up to you guys, man, because you guys are the elite to us, man. I'm reading this. I was reading your press kit. I was like, wow. You know what I mean?
And you can call me Ram.
So go ahead, man. Tell us about yourself, man.
Yeah, so I mean, dude, it's like anything in life, right? Like we all have our professions that we chose. We all have the paths that we've set out on. Absolutely everything that you listed, I owe 100% to the people that, the leaders before me that mentored me in the military. There is so many people in the military that don't have the good leaders that set them up for these opportunities and don't give them the chances. I was one of the fortunate ones that they were like, hey man, you're going and doing a soldier of the month, which I didn't really put those on there because they're kind of low profile events. But it wasn't until, I started doing that soldier of the month and they were like, his name was Sergeant Huey. So he was the first real mentor that I had when I was a private, and was like, hey man, you're going to go do this. I was like, I don't want to do that. He goes, too bad, you're going. And so anyways, he like broke me out of my comfort zone, got me started. I ended up winning like 5 of those soldier of the month and soldier of the quarters. And then that kind of started the whole winning streak. From there, I was like, this is actually pretty fun. We went and did like another low profile one that's not on there is we won a dodgeball competition for Fort Bliss, which is like something so lame, right? Like who brags about a dodgeball competition? But for me, it was like, it was just cool. It was like another number, another stat. And I was being fueled by it. And then after my unit saw that, they started pushing me into these best warrior competitions for the local company and for, competing against the rest of the Army. Ended up just taking those on head first and loving that. And then from there, that went into the special operation commando competition, or the special forces commando competitions. We won the first year, and it was funny because my commander, so it's actually, that's what that news article was. And it's funny because my commander, so he went over to the Rangers and some of these real high speed soldiers that were over there. And he was like, yeah, none of us really trained for this. And he was just talking just mad smack the whole competition. When we won it, we were like, wait a minute, like, you guys are, supposed to be the elite. Like, how do we beat you? And so everybody called it a fluke. And I remember, like, that lit a fire under us. So for the next 12 months, we trained back up, ended up going again, and we won it a second year in a row and set a record for the competition. Nice. And so are engraved on the plaque for 2 years in a row just to prove it wasn't a fluke.
Wow.
And after that, I was super motivated by the Army. I still am. Like, I love the Army. I think it's been great, turning me into the man and leader that I am today. And then the opportunities to go to those schools honestly came from the chain of command. It was up to me to complete them. But like I said, nothing that I've done would be accomplished without those mentors and without those opportunities from those leaders. Airborne, Air Assault, SEER, the survival school was a fun one. Deployments and everything. It's all recommendation. It's all, should this person go, especially in the aviation and special operations world. It's not just like the normal units where they're like, hey, suck it up, you're going. It's like, they'll actually go through and pick who do they want on these teams. So you really have to put yourself out there and be able to accept it. But like I said, it's all mentor dependent, man.
Yo, a lot of things that we accomplish in life, I'm gonna tell you this, the truth. It's all mentor dependent. I mean, 100%. For you, starting from your dad, I mean, that phone call changed your life completely. For me, it was, back in the hood when I met Mr. D, when my life was going down the drain. He saved my life. He changed my life forever. And my posterity forever, for generations to come. Absolutely. I will always remember that Mr. D. It's just like your phone call. We receive these phone calls in life and we have to listen to those phone calls, because if you're in that space where you can't hear those phone calls, meaning opportunities, you can really hurt yourself and the rest of your life. I mean, look at Inman. Look what he's accomplished, and he's playing it down. But this man is a boss. I mean, and I just love that I love his modesty, man. I mean, because he's accomplished so much, and me and him, we have a lot of building to do, and I know I can learn so much from this dude. I mean, sometimes we want to, we look at, people like Ed Milet. We look at people, the stars, the celebrities, or whatever. But we have celebrities in our midst, they're right there in front of us, and we don't see them. And sometimes I think really we don't see them, we attract them, if that makes sense to everybody.
Man.
Before we cut Inman loose, is that you have a book that's called Never Good Enough that's coming out. Tell us about that book, and when can we expect it?
Man, that's been a hard one.
One of those.
Like, you talk about all those competitions, you talk about all the stuff that I've accomplished. It's like, man, this is gonna be the hardest one yet. Just sitting down and like being able to translate everything that I've learned on paper is just a different beast. And it's funny because I've already thought of the sequel and I haven't even finished the first, because you're never good enough. Starting to realize in life that that's not necessarily the mindset to have. It's actually, you are good enough. So it's almost like, I might break it down into two pieces and do the you're never good enough is the first piece of, how you feel broken, and be the self-development piece. And then the, you're good enough being the sequel, being the entrepreneurship and the grind. But you said something amazing I wanted to touch on, because I think there's a lot of people that could use this. And it's, you were saying that we attract people. We attract the right people into our lives, the right mentors, the right opportunities. There's someone I have to give a shout out to, because I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for him giving me an opportunity a couple weeks ago. So if y'all aren't following him, his name's Eric Allen, Eric G. Allen. He's starting his he's a top-rated podcast host. He's doing things in the entrepreneurship space, in the MMA space. Like, the dude is crushing it. And he gave me my first opportunity to be on a podcast. And that was, 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And
Nice.
that all happened all because, I was able to put myself out there. I was able to help him with our digital services, and we built this relationship. And after that, it was, him inviting me on the show, humble enough to be like, hey, man, you're not one of these top-rated people that I normally work with, but I'll have you on. And that gave me a confidence boost. That showed me you can get out there, you can get speaking, and you can go and do these types of things. And it's not that far stretched, just like you doing this with me today. Like, I can't even tell you how much a lot of people overlook something as simple as that, of just gratitude, being able to thank the people that have helped you get to where you are and have enabled you to achieve what you've achieved.
Yeah. Likewise, brother. Likewise. I'm so happy that you took the time out to be here. My last question is this simple question: if you had an opportunity, and this has been, let me just say this has been amazing. I mean, this is what we call in the hood building. We are building here. And I enjoyed every minute of this interview.
I did too.
And
It's been great.
I'm sure everyone else did, and I'm sure that since we're going to evergreen this episode, I'm sure people are going to be enjoying this for years and years and years and years to come. This video will be in parts of Afghanistan. I mean, this video is going overseas, y'all. We're going overseas. We're taking y'all overseas.
It's true. So, I got friends that are looking forward to seeing this. So I appreciate you recording it for them.
Yep. I wanted to ask you, if you had your choice of a mentor from the past that's not alive today, that's dead, and that you had an hour to have lunch with that mentor, who would that person be and why?
Anyone from the past.
Anyone from the past.
Man, that is a great question. I hope you asked that on all these, because that was great. Oh, man. One of the guys that comes to mind right now, he stems from Tony Robbins' mentor, right? So Jim Rohn. Yes. I listen so much Jim Rohn because I like getting, the news from the source. I like going further back, and I know, Earl Nightingale was his mentor and so on and so forth. Napoleon Hill was before that. I understand that. But as far as people that I would absolutely love from the past to sit down with, he would change my perspective in my life because he was the mentor to Tony Robbins and so many others. And I think he was recent enough that everything he has to say is still applicable, is still used in everyday life. And now that I've seen what I've seen, I know what I know, I will never underestimate the power of self-development. You have to get your mind straight before you can do anything else. One of the things you asked about before we started this podcast, before you brought me on, is you said, how do you get the mindset to prepare?
Yes.
And I tie Jim Rohn into that question, and that's because you're never prepared for what life throws at you. You're never prepared for getting punched in the face in entrepreneurship, in life, having someone die. There's so many things that will throw you through a loop that you can't embrace, you can't prepare for. But one thing you can do is, one of the things you can do, though, is you can prepare yourself beforehand, before the event happens. So, leading up to it, life is great, an event happens, now what? Now you're thrown down, you're trying to figure life out. You don't know how to overcome these obstacles. Or let's reverse in the same situation. You have someone like Jim Rohn mentor you, and he has prepared you to at least know how to handle life and understand that life happens for us and not to us. Yes. That is something so overlooked as life is happening for us. How can this be setting me up for the next step? How can this be setting me into the future? And that's how I would summarize that. Is Jim Rohn is someone I would love to go have lunch with, just because he helps me with preparation, mindset, and self-development. And without getting your mind right, you're never going to do anything great.
That was an awesome answer, and I agree with you. Tony Robbins is fantastic, but I always end up listening to Jim Rohn all day and all night because Jim Rohn is I want it from the source.
Exactly.
I even listen to Errol Schoaf sometimes, Jim Rohn's mentor.
Yep.
So I feel you, man. This has been fantastic. People are still logging on. They're excited. I know they heard about it. They're like, Enan's on. But hey, folks, it is time for us to say goodnight because IG has a cap, and if Enan needs this video, so what that means is, like, IG, if you hit it at that hour, you can lose the video. It won't let you save it. So we have to cut off before the hour so I can make sure that this video is saved, so I can send Enan the saved content. But with that said, yo, Enan, thank you so much, brother, man. You made my night. You made my night, and I'm sure all these personal development junkies that's online right now, they've learned a lot, and I'm sure that there's some tools that you've spoken of that they can use and hopefully make their dreams and their goals come true.
Hey man,
so
one more for some bonus content for your community is, if any of y'all have questions on any of the things that I've said, y'all, I respond to all my DMs. So y'all can follow me at the Ian Inman. Send me a DM if you have questions. Send me a DM if you just need a 15-minute talk because you're going through something. Like what Glastinne said earlier, right? Like, we're in this together, and as my community is learning about him, you guys can learn about me, and this is growing. It's not about me or him. We're all doing this together. So if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help you guys and at least get you started on the right foot. But I know you're in good hands with Glastinne here.
Yeah. So tomorrow we'll have a 1-minute clip in IG with Enan's contact information. Look into the description and go and follow him. Follow him right now. Go into IG. Get off this live and go and follow him right now and connect with him. Because he's putting on the hat. Oh man.
Hey man.
$1 Million Cowboy.
I promised you'd see it.
Hey, the $1 Million Cowboy. I am going to have that picture on my YouTube video.
Looking forward to it.
Enan, thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate you, and I'll see you next time, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Peace.
Later.
Yep. Hey guys, don't forget, Wednesday night, 8 p.m., we're going to have another special guest that you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss. You see it for yourself. These guests are fire lit. Enan was fantastic. I appreciate you guys for showing him so much love. And did you guys experience what I experienced? I mean, it was fantastic, man. Go ahead and DM me. Go ahead and follow me at Glastinne on IG and go to my YouTube page, and so you can catch the full version of this on YouTube. It'll probably be in 2 weeks' time that I'll put the full version of this on YouTube. But you don't want to. I want you to listen to this video again and again and again and again and again, because he dropped so many jewels in this video. It was incredible. It was incredible. All right. Until next time, Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I will see you guys later. Peace. Hey, if you want to see more leadership tips that can help you on your journey, check out this video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.